Tonight's class is slightly different from what I usually do. I don't have pictures to show you, and this is a bit more of a participatory class than usual. And the subject of the class is rest, relaxation, and mood. It's a much bigger subject, but I thought that there's a side of rest, relaxation, and mood which relates to equipment, technology, activity. And rather than going deeply into the sort of philosophy and the healing benefits, which we will do, but I kind of wanted to start off really with the different equipment or activities that you can do easily, which support you to have a better mood, that support you to be more relaxed, to actually rest. Because this is vital. If we don't have this as a, hopefully daily activity, then we're really missing out, because our basic healing process takes place when we're in a state of rest. Our bodies don't heal when we're physically being active. They heal when we're at rest. That's when our recovery happens. So whether that's recovery from an accident, deep illness, or just from sports exercise, it's rest. There's no alternative to rest. So and there's no limit on what personal activities you can do to help you to rest and relax and have an improvement in your mood. Because when you have that improvement in your mood, you're in a better healing state. There's no trickery involved in it. So for me personally, it's meditation. I've been meditating since I was 18. So that's more than 35 years now. And that takes me no effort at all to do. I just have to remember to do it. And it's easier with other people as well. I find meditation is easier with other people. When I'm by myself, it's easier for my mind to wander off and to forget, to get caught up in a distraction. But and bringing it back to a relaxing meditation object is great. I've just seen there a very restful meditation object walking past Teresa's screen, which I wouldn't have thought of now. I was thinking about it earlier, but absolutely, pets, they are a real source of rest and relaxation. Well, maybe not if you have a dog barking at you a lot, but they do have that possibility. How restful is it for you to hold the cat and to pet the cat?
Oh, especially when they purr.
They're appreciating, you're being appreciated. And so you have that heart-to-heart kind of experience. Not a vocal one of, from I'm expressing my heart, but no, the expression is there. It's part of the reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to start off really with that, is to ask you, and so we compile a little list. So whether you're typing in like Pat or Katia or Karen or Susan or anybody, or you're speaking, it doesn't matter. But I want us to compile a list of the equipment that we use or the activities that we have, which help us to rest, relax, and give us an improved mood.
I'll go. I listen to, it's like a meditation healing. I listen to, it's a woman speaking, you know, it's like affirmations, you know, about my whole body healing and, you know, appreciative of, you know, my body and my being and all that. And then she like, there's music, you know, so that you fall asleep. And then like she continues to repeat those affirmations. And so it does help if I notice if I don't put it on, that I'm having a hard time sleeping.
Oh, great. And so that gives you a deeper sleep.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
who is it?
I can get back to you on it. I got to look on my like YouTube because I have it programmed. I'll type it in the box.
Yeah, it'd be great because I might do, if I keep the focus together for it, I might do a little listing from the class and tag it to the file for tonight's class. I can tag it on later on.
Okay,
I think
that's good, yeah.
it's just interesting because we can think of things that otherwise we don't think of. Like Teresa got her pet in very quietly there.
I got a lot of dogs and a cat too. So I got a Siamese cat here. I don't know if you can see. Where's Jack? I don't know if you can see him, but he's always on my lap. I don't know. Where are you, Jack? He's not on camera.
He's not on camera. He's a bit camera shy today, you see.
Yeah.
Too much fame, too much fame. No, not today.
Exactly.
I'm from Pat. I'm the same as Jamie. A YouTube video I use for affirmations. When I'm using the chi machine or red light, I listen to it. And Carol mentions sauna. And you find the sauna resting. Well, yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It's resting for you is the main thing. Now we got everything coming in. Oh, that's from Karen. From Teresa. Listening to music, guided meditation videos, YouTube, cuddling with cats, sitting by the fire. Yes, sitting by the fires, that's a beautiful one as well, isn't it? Because you have that life going on, because it's you're with nature and nature's transforming. You know, when we're listening to or looking at the fire, we're experiencing nature transforming. You know, when it's giving us that light and heat, and it's not really giving it to us, it's just giving it. We're close enough to get it. So it's giving, you know, a light and heat, and in the process it's dying. You know, at the end you've got ashes. You know, that's the end of its life being fulfilled in a way. So I find those things interesting, particularly with fire. My surname is Ember, so I do have this relationship with the fire. But an ember's still alive; it still has the heat in it. Otherwise, it's just a piece of charcoal. From Katia. Oh yeah, sauna, a dog and cat, massage. Massage is great. Especially if you can get somebody else to give it to you. That's really the sweet spot for massage, isn't it? They'll walk, music, chi machine, red light therapy, music. That can be a real source of listening. And I expanded, or sorry, a real source of rest and relaxation. I want to expand it a little bit because there's lots of different kinds of music. So some music could make us quite tense, right? Or even make us feel angry, or make us want to cower, you know, because it's violent music, you know. Some of the dread metal stuff, you know, but for somebody else, they'd relax listening to dread metal, you know. So, you know, there's no single box, and it's to really to look at it and to go, yeah, what actually impacts me? Some music is very emotional, And so it can be good overall, but not useful for meditating, for instance. So if a music stimulates our emotions, then maybe that's not good for meditating. The process might be good for resting and relaxing if we enjoy having our emotions stimulated and being opened. If we enjoy that, then yes, that's a good healing process. That plays its role in rest and relaxation then, and a really good one. But it is a bit different from meditation, where we're coming into a deeper, quieter place. So it's just to notice that there's subtle differences between things at times. And the chi machine, and the chi machine is great. Like massage and sauna, is that our body itself is more relaxed afterwards. So our body's really going through a process of relaxation. And it's one of the things which is stressed, but not stressed enough in using the chi machine, is that after the machine goes off, to continue lying there and not moving for, they say, for 1 or 2 minutes. But really, if you can do it stretch that out to 5 minutes, then the benefit is even more so. They say that 40% of the benefit from the chi machine comes from resting afterwards, not getting up and doing things. So also immersing yourself in water, swimming and bathing is from Teresa. Yeah, I think lots of people would agree with, warm water. It's really nice. Jacuzzi though, I don't find the jacuzzi that relaxing because it's very noisy, and the noise kind of knocks me out. But it's not, for somebody else, they're perfectly comfortable with that noise. I'm sensitive to noise, so it really varies. And swimming, if you can swim well, or yeah. I mean, if you can do, what do they do? The Wim Hof method, where they're using the ice water, like people are immersing themselves in ice water for a few minutes. If you're able to do that for real, and being able to do it means that you're able to keep your body in a relaxed state. If you're able to do that for real, I mean, fair play. And there is one reversal, actually, an American. I saw a video of him being interviewed. He was living in Holland at the time, and he did the Wim Hof method, which is this: you prepare yourself psychologically for immersing yourself in ice cold water for a number of minutes or longer. And of course, with our illness, that's a crazy idea, because you get a contraction in the muscles, and then you're just going to contract more, and you're probably going to have to be lifted out of there because your muscles won't work at all afterwards. But he's doing it, and I was listening to him. He was being interviewed by one of the other people who do this method, and the person who was interviewing him didn't realize what a huge challenge it was for this guy to be doing the Wim Hof method. I mean, it's challenging anyway. Then on top of that, you've got this illness with its reaction to the cold. And what else was he never really went that public with his reversal. I can't remember his name now. But the 2 other things that he was doing, or 3 other things, was yoga, meditation, and cannabis. Now, I'm pretty sure he was looking after his diet and supplements as well. He was doing some stuff there. I'm pretty sure, but I don't think you'd be doing, yoga and meditation and Wim Hof method and not looking after the supplements. He just didn't talk about that side of it. But yeah, you know, if he could do that, yeah, that would be pretty amazing. That would. Oh, this is from Janie. Heal in your sleep by progressive hypnosis on YouTube. Heal yourself in sleep. That sounds great. Heal yourself in sleep. Progressive hypnosis. Let's see. I'll just highlight that. And my dogs and cat and massage once a month, chiropractic and acupuncture once a month. And Jenny, do you find that the chiropractic and acupuncture, do you find that relaxing, or is it the treatment afterwards?
Yeah, because after I get adjusted, then she'll do the acupuncture and they turn down the light and they put like a heater in the room, and then I'm like literally like falling asleep. So I'm in there for like 15 minutes, really at a relaxed state. So
that's great.
And then it's like I'm like, oh, I got to get up, when they come in the room. So it is very relaxing.
You're ready to have another hour there. Come back later, please. How much do I have to pay to stay here? Like
Exactly.
book a double session to have a good rest. That's great, yeah. And I suppose you can massage your cat and dog as well, can't you? Give them a massage. But I mean, it is interesting because when we give, we also receive back as well, especially with like souls that as simple as our pets, because they're very simple beings that making that connection. And there was a therapy I trained in for a number of years, on and off. It was by a Canadian lady, Joe and Jill Lester, and she was really, really powerful. And she worked on or worked through the heart healing, because the heart has the biggest electromagnetic field of the body by far. Nothing else, compares with it, even remotely. And so we have this huge battery, to call it by a different word, with this huge power source, and which is that the heart. And it's not the emotions, it's not how we feel about something, it's much, much deeper than that. And so and when you connect with somebody using the heart, you're naturally taken into a place of healing. It happens really naturally, because that the heart, or what I'm referring to here, calling the heart, which is the physical heart as well, it doesn't have an agenda. It's not trying to take advantage of somebody or manipulate or whatever, or hold a particular position. It's coming from somewhere else in us, somewhere which is free of that. And one of the exercises that we used to do would be we'd sit with somebody else and we'd sit back to back. So, we wouldn't see the other person, you'd be facing away. And so you'd be sitting back to back. And, you'd have to take turns of being a receiver and a giver. So the person who is giving is simply imagining their heart expanding with each breath, giving whatever healing the other person is able to receive. And receivers just allowing themselves to be open to receiving whatever the other can give. So there's no demand to fix, to fix or to be fixed. There's no demand. And you get into this lovely, really lovely, restful place. And especially with this kind of sitting back to back, you get this natural support with the other person, because they can kind of lean on you and you're kind of leaning on them. And so you get this lovely kind of very human sort of support, and you sort of find your position of rest between the two of you, this engagement. Yeah, it's a shared sense of rest. And that's why just talking about the cats and dogs and the heart connection that we have with them has reminded me of this. I'd forgotten about it really for years. So we can have this, if we can bring this heart connection more into our lives, then we're going to have more rest and relaxation and more healing. And it's quite challenging to do, especially with modern Western culture, which tells us to hide our vulnerability, to be strong and all this sort of stuff, which doesn't really help us to heal, to be, because we need to be accepting of our vulnerability. And if we're open with our vulnerability, we're in an even better place of healing, because our vulnerability isn't a mistake. Our vulnerability is a normal human attribute, a normal human quality. There's no person alive who doesn't have vulnerability. It's part of our nature. We're all vulnerable, however we might act. And so being at peace with that and being with somebody else who's also at peace with that, and especially when you're not looking at each other, when you're looking at somebody, it can be a bit of confrontation involved, there can be a bit of challenge involved when you're looking at somebody. Or when you're sitting back to back, you have that connection without the demand, without the I'm trying to convince you of something, or I want you to behave in a particular way, or I don't want to disappoint you, or we have these unconscious emotional drives going on in us all the time. When we're directly looking at somebody, they're stimulated. So going into this heart space is a big change around. Jill Lester used to travel down to the States, and she was doing her workshops there. She used to travel from Canada over to Ireland twice a year doing 5- and 7-day workshops. So I went to a few of them. She stopped doing it. Remember, then she stopped doing it in the States because she said that she found people were emotionally so isolated. Even if they were with lots of people and socializing a lot, at an emotional level, they're incredibly isolated. And she found there wasn't enough openness to actually allow the contact to happen, that people just weren't actually willing to be open. You don't have to admit anything. It's just being in a state of openness, and they just weren't willing to go there. That's a few years ago now, so I don't know what Jill is up to now. But this area of rest, relaxation, and taking care of our mood. And our mood is not fixed either. So sometimes we're feeling depressed, sometimes we're feeling fine. Sometimes we feel like we've had a good day. As somebody in one of the other calls said recently, like, how are you guys doing? And one of them said, well, today I had a good poop, And yeah, I understand that. You day has started off that way, you're feeling better afterwards. Your day has started off good. So, and your mood is better as a result. Dealing with our moods, there is a couple of things that we have to realize. One is they're not fixed. So we can't maintain a good mood all the time. That's impossible. So I say that because I want to encourage you that when you're not in a good mood, that you just let yourself off the hook. That's it. I'm not in a good mood today. That's not the way today is. or that's not the way it is right now. Later on in the day, tomorrow will be different, but right now it's like that. And it's okay to give yourselves permission to not feel good about it. And knowing that our mood is changeable, is that when we're in a bad mood, it's not going to last forever. You know, our good mood's not going to last forever, and our bad mood isn't going to last forever. That's what I'm trying to say. So neither of them are fixed. Both of them are passing things. And we have real resistance at times to our mood because we really don't want to feel particular feelings. We really have huge resistance to it. And that resistance is itself a feeling. So this might be going a step further than the intended in the class, but so when we're resisting one feeling, that feeling of resistance, if we're able to sit with it without changing it, if we're able to give that part of us attention and respect and value, because there's a lot of pain and hurt and there's a lot of stuff that is behind there, and we can't just change it all. That's, if we could, we would have done it already. But we can change our relationship with it. So the equipment and activities that we do help us to be in a better mood for healing. Not that we should be trying to be in the better mood the whole time, because there's a bit of despair in our motivation. If we need to be in a good mood all the time, then we're really not in one, There's a difference between being in a good mood and not feeling uncomfortable. So sometimes, we really dislike feeling uncomfortable, whether it's uncomfortable about our other feelings or whatever it is, this sense of discomfort. And so a lot of people will do anything to stop feeling that. And so what they call a good mood for them is not feeling uncomfortable. That's not really a good mood, That's like a good mood based on the rejection of something you don't like. That's not, it's very superficial. That being a kind of good mood, calling it a good mood is very superficial. It doesn't have any strength to it. Like a real good mood means we're not so easily affected by other things in that moment. We're in a good mood, if you're in a good mood and we're a bit constipated, we're not really affected by it because we're in a good mood. You see what I mean? So that's a bit different from I don't want to feel uncomfortable. In the good mood, you can feel uncomfortable or you can feel other things at the same time. And you're in the good mood, so you have more capacity then to feel the so-called negative things. So I'm just sort of introducing it. It's really a huge topic. A lot of optimum healing state, as some of you know, is focusing on managing our interior states so that we develop the optimum state of healing. Yeah, I'll go into that now. But it's a huge part of the healing process. So I just wanted to kind of introduce it here because there's an element of it which relates to activity and equipment and scheduling that we, I know it might sound a bit strange, schedule to have a good mood. Schedule to be doing things which are going in that direction. I always advise people to take the steps in the right direction. So the aim isn't to be in a good mood. The aim is to take the steps in the direction of the good mood. Because if we have the good mood as the objective, as what we want to achieve, and we don't achieve, and we're not in a good mood, even though we've done some meditation, we've listened to some music or inspiring stuff, and we've petted the dog and cat, we've done some of the stuff, and we're not in a good mood, and then we're disappointed because we haven't achieved the objective that we want. So I'm encouraging you to change the objective from the good mood, from the goal, to the process. That just the fact that I'm taking these steps towards the target, that in itself is the most important thing. And so we're changing, that the focus, that the ultimate target is still the same, which is to heal. So we're not changing anything at a fundamental level, but we're changing our focus of what we're putting our energy into, and where our expectations are focused on. So the more we focus that in the present, the better the effect. And so if we're in the sauna, and sometimes the sauna can be uncomfortable, when it gets hot and you've already been sweating a bit, maybe been talking a little bit to somebody in the sauna, or, anyway, it's hot. And at a certain stage, you'll even find that your heart starts to beat faster. You're getting this passive cardio stuff. And there's a strong urge to get out because it's uncomfortable. It's not pleasant at that stage. Our body's reaction trying to get us to run out of the heat. And I always had at that stage, I have to practice my 1 minute more, just 1 minute more. Okay, I agree to it. 1 minute more. Take it in. I'm taking it in. I'm taking in the heat. 1 minute more. Just relax. 1 minute more. And then the minute is up. And okay, 1 minute more. I'm up for another 1 minute. And it's another 1 minute. And another 1 minute. Now we can leave whenever we want. So we're not under any pressure. We're not trying to torture ourselves. Well, we're, an acceptable level of torturing, I suppose. So it's an example of being in the process, being in the moment of taking the right steps now. And whenever I take the right steps now, my mood it can only be better. If my focus is really taking the right steps now, my mood can only be better with that, because I'm taking the right steps. I know that. And I remind myself of it. I've been doing it again recently. January's been a hard month for me. So I've been going back to some of the things that I wasn't practicing so much. So, I go back to listing, the things that I've done, which are right. And it'll be simple things like, I've got my compression gloves on today. So I go, oh yeah, my compression gloves are on. That's right. I've done this. That's right. I've done this. Small things, no big things, just small things. And yeah, this is right. That's right. This is right. I don't count any bad things. There's no negative scoring in this. It's just positive scoring, the things that I do right. And when you find out you've done 5 or 10 things right, which includes things like eating, breathing more relaxed. There's one right thing. And this works in our brain. Our brain is okay. It doesn't count the size of something being a right. It just counts it as a right thing. Hey, got something right. It's like, yes to the test. I passed the test. Yes, fantastic. And we respond to this. Our brain, our hormones, and I can't remember which ones in the brain respond to it. Anyway, that's another day. But really, it impacts the chemicals, our natural chemicals in our brain, and it affects our mood. And like there's part of the optimum healing state, which is that, which a lot of it is about making, learning to make choices. And one of the criteria for the choices that you make is that they have to be choices that you can succeed at. If you can't succeed, or if it's difficult to succeed, that's not the right choice. That can be a practice choice. But we want, or I want you to make choices which are, yes, I can do this, so that we have that positive affirmation. A relaxed breathing. Yes, I've done it. Well, if breathing like that was a big struggle, then no, need to choose other things. And it can be anything. It can just be opening and closing the eyelids. If we learn to do that in a relaxed way, that's fine. I've done something in a relaxed way. And acknowledging that achievement for ourselves gives us huge amounts of support. So I wanted to introduce this because you're going to see we're doing EMS next week, and then we're going to look at, you know, which is type of exercise, and then the couple of weeks following it, we're looking more at physical exercises. And so I wanted to introduce the importance of rest and relaxation. And there's a method, if you can really get into a relaxed state of mind, and to get into one regularly, there's an important observation to make that you have to learn to make for yourself, which is when your body has some stress in it, or when your body is more relaxed. So, and it's to actually feel the difference internally, physiologically, internally, is to feel that difference. So what you'll notice is that when you're less relaxed, when you're more stressed, there's a tension, there's a tightness. The muscles are actually contracted. It might be a strong, might be a very gentle contraction. Depending on what the situation is, it could be a severe contraction. People get really tight muscles, especially in the small of the back, but you know, it can affect people in the gut and everywhere. But it's to notice that happening in your body, that you know, if you think of speaking to somebody that is very unpleasant and doesn't listen to you, or dismisses you, or, you know, behaves in a bit of a nasty way, even if they don't know it, and that's even worse. But and what it's like being around them, you know, somebody who doesn't listen to you, and you need to be listened to because you're a human being. So there's naturally a kind of contraction with that. And then you imagine talking to somebody, it could be your cat, of course, as well, but talking to somebody who's just listening to you and is open and isn't in a hurry to finish the conversation, isn't trying to solve your problems or advise you, is happy just to listen to what you have to say. It's lovely. You can really relax with somebody like that. and you'll feel difference physically between one situation and the other. And it's an important skill to actually learn to develop, because we'll find out that there are other situations which are causing us stress and we didn't notice it. We got used to it. So they're not helping. Those situations aren't helping our health. So it's important to address it. And addressing it is a big subject. How do we respond to stressful situations? Can we just step back out of them and let them go out of our lives or create distance? That can be one. Maybe we can actually change our relationship with them and communicate with them and bring some other changes. That can be another one. There's no single answer, but it is to notice that we move into stress, which isn't healthy for us, and we need to move into a more relaxed state. Now, when we're doing exercises, physical exercises, it's normal for our muscles, well, because we're doing physical exercises, we're contracting our muscles. So we've basically got contracting and not contracting, that's basically it. And it's our motor neuron signal which is doing the contraction, and when the signal has gone down, then there's no contraction. So of course this is a problem for us. This needs special management. So the point of being in a restful state relates to exercise, because if we can be in a really restful state and a deeply restful state, within the context of our illness, of our lives, our symptoms, our challenges, our difficulties, and we can still step into a restful state. Not be in it all the time, but we can step into it at least at times. Then we can use that for our exercises, so that when our muscles contract and we let go, we can let go into that restful state. So we're no longer trying to do 10 difficult steps across the floor. We're just doing one step and relax, one step and relax, one step and relax. And I've really practiced this. I do it for some things now occasionally, and I need new places to apply it. That's part of how I got my walking back, was one step and relax, one step and relax, and that was it. And when my walking was really bad, I would go outside walking, my legs would just be really contracted, and it would go from a sort of 12-inch shuffle down to a 6-inch shuffle, and I have too many steps to take to get back inside to sit down. And it's cold outside as well, so everything's against me. And but I can go into that relaxed state. So I take a smaller step. So I've gone down from 12 inches down to 8 inches, and I make it smaller than that. So I reduce the stress of the exercise even more. So this is why rest makes a big difference, because we can keep going back into that state of rest every few seconds. And I mean it. When we're exercising, it's every few seconds, and you can do it for any part of your body. Even I haven't really done it this way, but you can even do it for parts of your body that that aren't moving. You can imagine contraction, you know, lifting the leg, bending the foot, whatever it might be, contraction and relax, contraction and relax. So you intend to stretch that, to move that, then let go of that intention. Your intention is relaxing it. So the intention to move, the intention to relax, intention to move, intention to relax. So we can use that all over the place. So that's why I wanted to introduce this. I think probably would have been better after the EMS, but it doesn't matter. We need this method for 2 weeks' time, looking at exercises in more detail. You know, the equipment that you use, whether it's sauna or you know, YouTube videos or meditation or the cat, or one of my ones is looking at my plants. I have some plants that I grow, and I just sit there and I just look at my plants. I'm not even really meditating or anything. I'm just looking at my plants and just enjoying them being alive. That's it. That's really relaxing, that is. They don't walk over to me to like my cat or dog, you know, your Talon dog. But yeah, and it's to engage with things which are just going to help us to relax and to notice the things which are interrupting that. So then we can go into relax more, because we're facing huge challenges. And generally speaking, facing huge challenges is not really a relaxing thing. So we need to learn the practice of resting and relaxing. In my, I'll give it out to you. I've what do they call it? A spreadsheet of activities and kind of timetable. And when I did it out and I was giving it the first review, I was looking, I've forgotten the most important thing, which is I then put first, which is rest. The number one activity is resting. If we're not actually having resting going on, then we're skipping something. You know, we need to have resting. We actually absolutely need to have resting in order to heal. So just looking at the comments here from Katya, dopamine. It could be dopamine. I think it is. From Karen, my pain receptors don't work correctly. So does anyone know how to handle, because I'm in pain almost all the time? I'm really sorry to hear that, Karen. I'm glad you're here, but I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know. You know, I don't know what you can do. So your pain receptors, they're working badly. If you're in pain the whole time, they are working, but they're working, yeah. So they're kind of stressed all the time. I don't really know much about them. So I don't know if anybody else has anything on that. Yeah, I mean, I use cannabis for pain, but I use cannabis anyway for the illness. And that, I don't know whether that would actually help with pain receptors. It is used for that. It is used for people in pain from chemotherapy. Is one of the things that, I mean, even in Ireland, it's regulated by the medical industry for pain treatment for cancer, for chemotherapy. So maybe that is something that's worth going into. I'm stressed all the time, so rest doesn't come to me. Doesn't work either, nor ketamine neither. I'm not too sure what to say to you. Being stressed all the time, I don't know. I don't know what will help. You know, I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're a mess. Yeah. I can understand that. Really, my heart goes out to you. Have you tried things like, you know, heat and cold treatments? Now, I mean, it might be one of the areas where cold treatment might be effective or be more effective. I don't know. But it's not a symptom that's regular with ALS. So it's not something I have much experience in. And biofeedback, or what's it, the other one, the TENS machine? Is that the same thing? Yeah. Yeah, because the TENS machine is working at the pain receptors. It is teaching to switch them off. Yeah, I've tried about everything now, getting a weighted blanket. And then it's you know, like so many things in ALS, you know, once you have one symptom going bad, all the rest start going worse as well. You know, I've had that this month. You know, I've lost a couple of kilos because of the lung infection, because I'm not able to exercise and do some things enough. It's having a bigger impact. So, you know, getting bigger sleep is really a big thing. I mean, there's that other thing, what's it called? What is it? Morphine, which definitely works on pain and will definitely help you sleep. It is addictive. That's the problem with it. But even if it's something that you can use from time to time, and it's possible, if it is possible for you, and it depends on your breathing as well, because morphine can be banned for some PALs, because they can go into too deep a state of rest, and the PALs isn't breathing enough, so there can be other problems. So if you're having that type of problem, then if you're sleep sitting up in a really supportive armchair, because if you're sitting up, then your breathing is easier than lying on the flat. So, you know, yeah, but it's a weighty problem, that is, and it's you know, that's all I have to say about that. And yeah, biofeedback or the pain, and done tends to the doctors, naturopath and holistic doctors have no idea. The States, they don't give opioids to help, at least mine won't. Well, yeah, well, it went opioid mad in the States, didn't they? Yeah, but you know, this well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Sorry, Karen. I don't know if there's something else that you can do or to take. You know, I mean, it's taking things in just like a different direction, but you know what happens in meditation, with very dedicated meditation practitioners, typically they will experience pain in sitting meditation, where they're sitting for long periods, end up with pains in their knees and stuff like this. And some of them will simply tolerate it. They will just, and I've seen them afterwards, they've been in such put their body through so much stress that they can't actually walk properly afterwards. And, you know, they're just, oh, it's just a sensation of pain. I'm not reacting to it. And which I think it's fine. But if you're not actually able to walk properly afterwards, I think that's maybe overdoing it, you know. So I disagreed with that side of it. But I respect that they were able to not react to large amounts of pain. There isn't, you know, if there's no solution, what do you do? Is it possible to accept this situation as it is without changing it? I am in pain now. And very often the process of acceptance can give its own relief, so that the pain isn't diminished, but the acceptance, without trying to change it, gives us a different experience, gives us a different experience to live, a different perspective to live. This is what people practice, have deep meditation practice. This is one of the areas that they try to develop. It's learning to live with something which is horrible, which is undermining your life, and learning to live with that, and not just be that, not just be the sufferer. When we accept our suffering, we're not just a sufferer, we're more than that. That's really, the sort of thing that we practice a bit in the healing meditation class on Wednesday. And once it's not looking at specific symptoms, it's looking at our emotional or our psychological healing process. It's taking the steps in our psychological healing process, so we're psychologically in a better state, and from that better state we're better able to live with the things that we can't change.